Okay, so now we're going to look at plugins. So basically, what a plugin is. A plugin is a sort of an extension, an add-on that you can add to your template, which is not part of the default files, but which can add further functionality to the template. And people often ask me, what is the difference between a block and a plugin? And it's actually quite simple. A block, as we've seen, is a widget that you put on your homepage, whereas a plugin is sort of like a separate page and often consists of more than one page, and it is found in the menu and it's not on your homepage. And you should not interchange these. And I should emphasize that if you install a block as a plugin, if you try to use a block as a plugin or vice versa, it's not going to work because they use a completely different structure, and also blocks tend to be quite simple because, as you can imagine, we're loading dozens of them on the home page. So whereas a plugin is a separate page. So let's just look at what some plugins are. So we're back on my home page. We click plugins, and now we see a list of all the currently available plugins, right? So, and each plugin always has its own version. It's sorted based on version, the date of last update, and then some brief description. These three icons are very important. This first one, so let's sort it back by name. This first one is a demo. It's a link to a demo, and if you click that, you'll see exactly what that plugin will look like when you install it on your page. So this is always useful. So you'll be redirected to my demo where you see the actual plugin. This one's, for example, the air traffic plugin. The second link is the download link. So that's what we're going to use to download the zip file with the actual plugin. And this third icon is very important because that's documentation for that plugin, and that will tell you exactly how to install it. So you click that, and it has some description, main features, and here's the installation. And as you can see, this one's pretty simple. It's basically just downloading it and then uploading it. Whereas for other plugins, there might be some more setup required. So for example, if we go down, if we go to the WeatherCat plugin, that one obviously has some more setup to be done. This one's actually quite complicated because it's for the update. But anyway, as you can see, this is where you find information about each plugin, how to use it, and also a demo. So let's start by, you can download the air traffic. Let's start by that one. So we click the download link, we get the download file. Okay, I'm just going to cancel that because I downloaded it already. So now we have the file. It's a zip file. You extract it on your computer, and then you go back to your FTP client, and let's see. So we're back in my template root folder, and as you can see, just like we did with blocks, which were in the homepage blocks, this is where my blocks are, there's a directory called plugins, and that's the one where all your plugins have to go. And again, I want to emphasize that you have to make sure that you don't create an extra level, an extra directory there when you extract the files. So when you upload it to your plugins directory, it should look exactly like the block, just the namespace of the plugin like this, and inside that the files. So again, let me just explain by showing you here. Sorry, let's close that. So basically, we're in the template root, and all your plugins will be saved in plugins, and then we're going to have air traffic, and then we're going to have index.php, which is going to be the landing page of that plugin. Yeah? Make sure you don't have something like this, template root, plugins, and then something like air traffic 1.0, air traffic. Yeah, this is not going to work. This is incorrect. It must be direct like this. This is the correct way. So we can delete this. This is how we have to do it. So let's go back. So we open plugins, and as you can see, I already have some installed, but your directory will probably be empty right now because you haven't installed any. So let's just click on the air traffic, right click, and we go upload. Okay, and now we see it here. So now we have it on our server. So what's the next step? Next step is we go back to our control panel here, and this is where we did the blocks setup. Here's the main setup, And now we go to the plugin setup page. Click that. And just like with the blocks, you now see all the different plugins you have installed. Now, obviously, as you can see, I have quite a few, but your page will only show the ones that you've already installed. In this case, you will probably see just the air traffic one. So we see air traffic, we see this is your version, this is the latest version, just like with the blocks. And as you can see, I already have a few, and some of them have this settings link. Others don't. Those that don't simply work out of the box. You don't need to do anything. They just work like that. For the others, and that includes this air traffic plugin, we need to do some setup. So we click the settings link. Okay, and now it's asking me to set up a few things. This is obviously going to be different for each plugin. In this case, it's asking me if I want to show airports, labels, and if the label and then what's supposed to be in that label, etc., etc. So you set this up how you want, and then you click save, OK, and that's basically it. And next thing would be adding that plugin to the menu, because right now it's not on our home page. It's as I said, it's a separate page that will be here in the menu. And I will show you how to use the menu in some later video. So right now, I only wanted to show you how to install a plugin. And so now it's basically ready on our server. And the last thing we need to do is just add a link in the menu. And we'll look at that later. I don't think there's much more to say about plugins. Yeah, they have their own versioning, but that's just like the blocks. So basically, one thing I should emphasize is that with versioning, whenever I release a new version of the whole template, all the subsequently released plugins and blocks assume you're using this latest version, because I very often add new features, and so obviously I want to take advantage of these new features that I added. And so if you ever decide not to update the main template, then make sure that from then on you don't update anything. I mean, you can still use your page, everything will work just fine, but you can't install any updates of plugins or blocks, because every time I release a new block or plugin, it's automatically assumed that you're using the latest version, because there might be functions and code that assumes that you're using this latest version, and if you're not, then some things might not work. Either it might not work at all, or icons might not show up, or yeah, various problems. And one more thing I want to say is that these plugins are not standalone scripts, and that means if you download this plugin and you try to just, I don't know, upload it to some different site, a site that is not using media template, and you just try to use it on your different page you have, or in WordPress or whatever, it will not work. Okay, because these plugins are not standalone, which means they're dependent on other files in the template. In particular, as you can see, there's always this header and the menu and the footer, and actually these scripts that generate this header, they include a lot of other functions and scripts which are necessary to run the actual plugin. So if you decide you just want to upload this plugin without using it inside the media template, it will not work, because it would be missing those files, which are, and because they're common to all plugins, there are scripts and libraries which are common to all plugins use them, so there's no point in loading them in each plugin. Rather, I just include them in the main template files and then use them. So this is just to make sure that you don't try that, because it can't work. Okay.